With the chirp, 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 with the chirp of the birds there that will not stop, we go into another episode of Rambling Weekly. Do, 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 do. And a squeaky chair. Welcome to the 11th episode of Rambling Weekly. Hey, that there was, the title of the artist that it gives is, Winna Strive. It's actually, from, I know them as Arc of Phantasm. At least that's what it says on the thing as well. So, Winna Strive, Arc of Phantasm. This one, this is what this episode dedicated to music by this person, and that one there was Konoha. It's a nice little a little battle theme in a way. It makes you think of like RPG battle themes or JRPG battle themes and stuff like that. So, what's been going on this week? Other than birds chirping. I wonder if you can even really hear that, and if it doesn't sound like I'm like psychotic and I just keep on saying there's birds chirping, the birds are chirping, chirp, chirp, chirp. But I think I want to say that you can hear that. What has been going on this week? Like I don't know. More writing, more reading. It's been one of those kind of weeks where it's just a bit of a blur. I've dropped playing Dragon Quest VI right now. I am bored myself to tears with it. I have tried to get more into it, and the moment I was listening to one of the earlier episodes, I can't remember if it was one I did last week or the one before that, but the moment that I got to the vocations, I just died. I died a little bit on the inside because It's just, I don't know. It's something about the game that really isn't catching my interest. It's one of the. It's weird. It has not. It has not panned out. However, because I was still in a very much heavy Dragon Quest mood, I did re-pick up Dragon Quest 7, which I was like 90 hours in, and have tackled that as I've just beat one of the 4 elements, we'll say. It's about the easiest way I can put it. And yeah, I'm hopefully getting really, really close to the end of that. Not to say that it's a bad game or anything, but I'm rekindled my passion for 7, and I'm really liking it, and I hope to beat it soon. I haven't really played Uncharted 3. However, I do want to say, and I've mentioned this to him before, just kind of talking with him and sending him an email. Sushi B, who I do the Power On podcast stuff with and whatnot, I had talked to him and stuff, and there's a few other people who I know that have definitely played it and liked it and stuff. But Dragon Quest Heroes, got it for my brother. My brother is playing it, and that I have created a monster. The dude is addicted to that game. And I've watched him play a little bit of it, and he really, really enjoys it. And he's only played really the Rocket Slime game, so he's not like a big Dragon Quest guy at all, but he digs his slimes, and he is just so addicted to that game. Goodness gracious. Like, it was kind of funny because he likes his first person shooters, and so he was playing a little bit of Black Ops 3, I want to say, online or something. Played a little bit of that. And mind you, he had already played 3 hours of Dragon Quest Heroes before, and it was rainy, so there wasn't really anything to do. So he'd played like 3 hours of it before, and then it was off of it for a couple hours. Got on and was playing. I'm imagining one of his friends had messaged him and asked him to jump on or something. Got on and was playing it for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then was like, yeah, no. And then he like switched it back over to Dragon Quest Heroes. Hey, he's addicted to it, and I blame Sushi B. But I have really no interest in playing that style of game, but even just kind of seeing him play a little bit, I was like, it'd be kind of fun to play this, but in the same hand, it's not really my cup of tea, so it's like, whatever. I'll just stick to the numerical ones. I have a hard enough time getting into Dragon Quest Swords as it is. And it's not because Dragon Quest Swords is a bad game or anything. It's just I never really think, I want to play Dragon Quest Swords. Even though I've heard different things, varying things on it, but I haven't heard atrocious things about it. That's always a bonus. Yeah, that's it. Really about, still reading books, still writing, got a stuffy nose, still trying to make a game, still going on. So, yeah, let's take a break and then get in with the discussion. Which the discussion today is going to be it's going to be more focused on Final Fantasy X. But it'll go from there. But it's gonna be talking about, I guess, love stories in video games, or just love stories in general. But maybe love stories in video games. So yes. So we'll get into that after further ads from our sponsors, which is none. So, but yeah, let's listen to a song and then get back to and then kind of discuss that sort of thing. So, yeah. See you on the other side. Hey there, welcome back. That there was Fatal Combat. And it was a newer one that they put on the Arc of Phantasm, put on their website. It's definitely not my favorite of that person's, but it's one of those songs that you listen to it and you're like, the turn's coming, and then it just doesn't seem to really come. Or the hook or something. I would say it's not bad, but it definitely leads itself to be repeatable and kind of. It sounds like an older school Final Fantasy game. So with the battle theme there a little bit, but yeah. So the thing with and I don't know what kind of really brought me into the whole let's talk about Final Fantasy X. I did really enjoy it, and I enjoyed it when I played it and whatnot, but I haven't played it in ages, and for some reason it just kind of has been stuck in my craw a bit with just like the music in particular. A Fleeting Dream is I don't know, it's just a lot of the music's really 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 good in it, and I don't know, the game itself is a bit of an interesting roll of the die when you're talking with people who are fans of JRPGs and stuff, because you get a lot of people who hate the game. That's the group of the side of people that I saw who played it, because I remember when the game first came out, and I want to say he was maybe a year or maybe 2 years ahead of. I think it might have been 2 years. 2 years ahead of me in high school. Guy was sitting with us, and he at the time was dating one of my friend's older sister, and I think that's kind of how, and why, like, how I knew him. And I had only been at the school for about. It was more than a year, but less than 2 at this point, and that came up, and he had bought. I want to say it was sophomore year. I could be wrong. Whatever, either it was sophomore or junior year, because I don't think it was freshman year. Freshman year, I still didn't really know him as well. It could have been junior year though. But excuse me. But He had bought Final Fantasy X, and at that point in time, particularly for high school for the most part, I kind of shifted away from games. There were a few I started to play later. Like this is what is for me is really condemning about Ocarina of Time. I played it in a time where I wasn't really interested in playing games, and it did not rekindle any sort of passion for me wanting to play any more games. I was just kind of like, this is a ho-hum affair. That's why the game doesn't really excite me or speak to me, and that's why I really don't give a rat's ass for the game, for lack of a better word. It was not a good selling point. However, later on, I would actually get into 9 and stuff, and I hadn't played. I mean, I played the demo of 8 sometime before. I hadn't played through 7. I don't think at that point. Hadn't played through 8. Hadn't played through 9, and then all of a sudden 10 came out, and I want to say this is before I really kind of started shifting back into games. And 10 came out, and I was surprised. I was really surprised, because I was like, holy crap, there's been 10 of these, and my bread and butter was always the original one. That's what I cut my teeth on, played it for years, finally beat it and stuff, and to see it be what it, to be at 10, that was like a big deal, because it's like, wow, there's 10 of them. And the thing was, though, is that the guy who played it despised it. He was like, "This is so boring." Like, and because it's a more narrative-driven sort of game, and he didn't like that so much. He was just kind of like, yeah, you go from, you watch an action sequence or a dialogue, and then you start playing for 5 minutes and then do it again, play for 5 minutes, and then rinse and repeat. You don't ever really get to play it. And I was kind of bummed by that because it looked really good. Because I remember seeing it in seeing a trailer for it or something and being like, wow, this looks really good. But nope. But the thing I want to talk about with Final Fantasy X is not, that there's the of course, people who like it and don't like it, but it's not that I, spoiler alert or anything like that. It's not like I'm actively trying to spoil things, but it is a rather old game, and there are the HD remasters that came out not too long ago, / within the last few years. So you're just kind of talking about the first one. I'm not going to talk about X2 or anything like that, but just the first one. For me, the thing about this game that is peculiar is how the main focus, the main focus would probably hinge on Tidus's and Yuna's relationship. And the reason why I want to bring that up is that, for starters, there are a lot of games that have relationships in them that are kind of either done kind of hands off. Like, for example, I haven't quite finished Uncharted 3 yet, but in that series, at least through the first 3, or at least 2 in a partial game, the relationship between Drake and Elena is very, it's like ambiguous. It probably goes further into it. I think in 4 it does too. That just came out recently, so people playing that and seem to be enjoying that, which is cool. But the at least in the first 3 games, for the most part, it's kind of, it probably goes more into it by the end of it, but it's they don't really talk about it much. It's in the way background, and you don't really get. You get it through dialogue between the two, and you pick on the subtleties of it and stuff. Which makes sense. There's no point in having this great big dialogue between characters of things that happen between them and being like, you remember that time? That's just really bad writing. So it's not to say that it's bad, but they kind of almost feel like they shy away from really going into it, which isn't terrible either. It's just the reason why I'm bringing this all up is I was trying to find it, and I thought it was on Reddit. Couldn't really find it. I'm not a Reddit person. I'm not really going around searching kind of thing for whatnot. Especially nowadays, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, do. But with I maybe it was Reddit, and somebody had shown me it. I could have swore somebody had sent me a link of it, but there was a forum, or a thread, I should say. There was a thread of people, I don't say complaining, but almost in a way being disgusted that there are love stories in a game. And a lot of times it seems to come down to just being shoehorned, really just kind of generic. Oh, they loves each other, but okay, but it was more to it than that. It was literally people saying, I do not want love stories in games. And I thought that was a very peculiar opinion to take on that. It's like, why? Why? Yeah, there's certainly a lot of love stories that are I don't want to say bogus, but that are just kind of ho-hum affairs where it's Just like, yeah, okay, totally, you love some, yeah, you did good, boy. But it's just not. It's just weird because when I think of that sort of thing, I immediately start to think of all the people who really, really enjoyed Final Fantasy X, me being one of them. And I wonder if instead of saying I just hate love stories in games, maybe it's just if they were had one that was at least kind of I don't say it's better explained, but kind of more deeply dug into. Maybe. I mean, it's. I don't know. Like, I just kind of. It's weird to me when people kind of. What's the word? I'm really struggling. It's one of those early kind of days. My brain's not on. But, I wonder if it's just people, like, do they just, like, lock this stuff out of their brain? Like, seriously, because I wish I could find the threads and stuff of it, because people were, like, lambasting not just games, but TV shows and this sort of thing, and it was, like, weird. It is, like, weird. Like, I've had my heart broken plenty of times, and I've probably broken a few hearts myself. That it happens. But to sit there and be like, yeah, I don't want any love story in anything because it makes it worse. It's just it's a piteous situation or thought kind of thing to have there, that you don't want any sort of love. I think part of it, I wonder if it's just because, hey, there's just been so many bad generic versions of like love stories and stuff that have been written, so it's kind of meh. You're not doing it much justice. But I mean, take for example, Princess Bride. The Princess Bride's about true love conquering all. Certainly, it is. It has got its comical bits, great dialogue, and everything. But it's doing that. But do people lambaste it because it's about love? No, I think that's when it. And I wonder if it's just because of how poorly written it can be at times. Or how just, oh, yep, they love this person, and they don't really kind of, I don't want to say explain, but, sometimes people fall in love for, just, like, bizarre-ass reasons, and it just kind of happens. And so having an explanation really would kind of be kind of weird for starters, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's got me dumbfounded more than anything, because it's such a sad way to look at things, and to be so, I don't know what these people's situations are to be so, I don't know, angsty or aggressive towards it, but it's just like it's love, folks. I mean, people, and I've had conversations before with one of my really good friends about love itself, because I think there's something wrong with the imagery that brings up. Because a lot of times when I say love, a lot of, maybe not, but to people listening, but when I say love, it immediately probably conjures up things of lust or sex and that sort of thing. And unfortunately, that's because we've got to clump it all together, and the most powerful of the sensations kind of overrides its broad sweeping meaning. If you look at like the Greeks and Latin and everything, they had quite a few different words for love, and they're different types of nuanced love. Unfortunately, in English, love doesn't really have a nuance. Sure, certainly we have love and lust, but lust almost seems to be lust seems to be like just the physical attraction, which then kind of it isn't quite. It doesn't quite group in sexual activities, which that itself sounds really just kind of barren. Sexual activity. But whereas love, making love and all that kind of and that sort of thing. Where in Latin they had a few different. I believe French also has a bunch of different words for it as well, and I'm not using it for a quote, but I wish I could think of his name. It's like Ludwig. True love. I can't think of his name. The German philosopher in the 19th century said, "The limits of my language means the limits of my world." And to reflect that, I think of there was a study done with language and Russian. In Russian, I think they've also done it with certain African tribes or just African peoples, certain African peoples who don't have words for certain colors, and we do in the U.S. But in English in particular, the U.S. we have blue. Blue is blue is blue, but we don't think of turquoise or I don't want to say navy blue because that's aquamarine and that sort of thing. If we do not have a word to describe it, then we generally clump everything together. At least in the case of colors, and I wonder if that's the same thing for love. And with Final Fantasy X, it's a peculiar case because that is the outside of Tidus's father issues, as well as Yuna. Yuna's having to deal with her own parental unit, her own father's fame, kind of overshadowing her, and she's trying to fight to be her own person. It's those are certainly there, and all the other stuff that's going on, but that's such a big part of the story. And it's weird to me because people who enjoy the story really like it because of that. People who hate the game and story and stuff don't really bring it up. I think a lot of people, and I could be off on this, I think a lot of people felt that the writers and everybody working on the game did a good job with that. It's more of the presentation in the way of you're just running down this straight hallway, this narrow pathway, and excuse me, and I don't know. To me, it makes it more focused. The narrative is more concise. Certainly, there's things or the dialogue that could probably be kind of ratcheted up better and stuff like that. But what I was saying about the whole, I wonder if because we don't have or use other words to describe things when it comes to the umbrella of all that is love, is that in Russian, I think there's 14 different words for different shades of pink. And because there are those words, they are able to differentiate between that. And unfortunately, for people who aren't, they just see pink. They just see a whole bunch of pink. And of course, that's not for everybody. Maybe you will see different shades of it, but maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just see it as if they're two very similar ones, your brain's probably just going to clump them together because your brain's lazy. That is one thing people need to realize, is that our brains are a bunch of corner cutting mofos, which are just don't have to do that, put it all in pink, guys, kind of thing. But and I kind of wonder if that's part of the problem, is that at least in the U.S., and that's been mentioned before with McGlynn. Some of the comments is the lack of maturity in North America when it comes to sexual relationships or just loving relationships, in the sense of the whole puritanical what's the word I want to use? The puritanical runoff. Just the echoes of that sort of lifestyle and everything that kind of came over and did what they did. But and so I wonder if because it's love, that there seems to be this lack of, I don't want to say understanding, but a lack of connections that are made between that there is, you can have love, you can love a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but you can also love a friend, and for some reason there seems to be this, at least it really feels like it to me, there is this disconnect, not with everybody of course, but there seems to be a disconnect that if you love a friend, it has to lead to something else. And it's like, no, because you love your family, and unless you're, incestuous, you're not going beyond that. I mean, it is, you're just, at that point it's like professing a care or a desire to not see that person fail, do bad, or get harmed, or that sort of thing, but also to like try to lift them up, sort of thing. And I don't know, like, I know I wanted to like sit here and talk about Final Fantasy X, and I know I didn't really drift too hard into it, but I don't think I really need to. It's what it was more of just the surprise that I had when people said that. Like, for the game I'm working on, for Sager's Calling, I initially had the title for, and this is what led me to finding these kind of, or being shown these things about people's opinions on, is that I initially, the story, or the title idea I had was A Lover's Pilgrimage, and the word itself kind of threw off my my co-conspirators, and they're like, yeah, we probably should go with a different name, because that's going to push people into a certain light with it, just from the word. And I didn't want to believe it. But they certainly showed me that sort of thing, and they're like, yeah, and people just, it is surprising what people will think. The end. But that's what we're going with right now. Let's take a break, and actually first, if you do have comments about it, leave me comments. I'm curious to know about this. Of course, it doesn't be about Final Fantasy X. It can be about whatever TV show or something. Just, yeah, I'm very curious to hear people's opinions on, I guess, love in media, and how people take to it, and yeah. So let's take a break. Welcome back there. Unfortunately, I don't have any comments, or I'm not seeing any. And that's probably totally all my fault for the last couple episodes have been a little off on their release, especially the last one, or not the last one. This would be the two before it. I just, which, like, I'm supposed to have put out this last week, and I just kind of got pooped on. That's about the easiest way to put it. I just really couldn't get around to getting the episode out, which would be the 10th, episode 10th. So yeah, unfortunately, as of right now, recording this, I don't have any extra comments. But if you do have any, totally leave them with the other Rambling Weekly episodes and whatnot, and I'll read them on the next episode. So we're going to jump into the quote then, and the quote is going to be from Mr. Julius Caesar. And right now, I've read about a third of the Conan book. I just, for some reason, I'm having a hard time getting into it. I don't know why. I'll read I'll read one of the short stories, and then I'll kind of set it down, and I'll read another short story, and then I'll set it down. It's probably the best way for me to do it, because if I try to read it too quickly, I'm just going to get bored with it. But for some reason, I thought when I got it and everything that I was just going to blaze a trail through it and just be like, yes, Conan the Barbarian. And no, not at all. I'm like, okay. But so I've kind of, not like set it off to the side, but I've set it down, and I've started to read The Conquest of Gaul. So Caesar is on my mind, and the quote is, "Men in general are quick to believe that which they wish to be true." And yeah, I think not, just not men, of course, but people. I think that's a fairly broad stroke. It's fairly on the nose here. People want to believe what they think is, what they think is true, because that reinforces their idea that they're right. And unfortunately, that's not how things are. And I don't want to say it angers me, because it's not like I get angry from it or anything like that. It just kind of befuddles my mind that people can be so cocksured and certain that definitively, objectively, even more importantly, objectively, truthful in what their opinions of something are. Yeah. like it's insane. It's silly to be like, yep, this is my opinion of it, and once it's held out to be true, I will gloat, and I will be seen as a better person because of it. I guess what you get a lot of times with this, like, when people are predicting like game results and stuff like that. It's seen a lot of it right now because football finished up their draft and they're now doing that. So you get a lot of people who are like, I'm predicting Team A to be 12-4 by the end of the season, and you're just kind of like, you're just throwing things out there. I can do that too. I predict Team A will go 6-10 at the end. Yeah, it's not that hard to do. You just make up stuff, because why? Nobody's got a crystal ball. People get injured. All that sort of stuff. It is such a, and then once it does kind of fold their way, they're like, oh, I knew it would happen because I'm so smart. I'm the fucking greatest. Ooh. And you see that play out. Air. Okay. You see that play out on just a lot of different things, and it's just it's annoying, and because it's not, you're not, if you're having a discussion with somebody and you're on different sides of it, it becomes less about the discussion becomes less about seeing if the other person can see where you're coming from, and more of just trying to bludgeon them to death to be like, yes, this is my opinion, you must accept it, accept my opinion, it is better, blah blah blah. I don't know. And so and then, this thing comes up, and I think I've mentioned it before with the Eastern Ishtar alleged connection and stuff like that, where it's just somebody basically saw that. Why do any sort of research? Because I really think that this is a problem with a lot of media and stuff and writing, is that I think it becomes really easy to tell when people are writing something when they think they know everything. Because when they think they know everything, they don't have to ask questions because they know everything. Why do I need to ask about this? I already know everything. And I think it's a byproduct of the age of the interwebs, where people can just look up information. So, for example, if I recall right, could be misremembering this. There we go. Yeah. If I recall right, Final Fantasy X in Japan was released on July 19th. Maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of vaguely remember that being the case. The only reason why I remember that is because that's my birthday. But the thing is that people think that sort of thing, and you see this with YouTube videos a lot too. If people kind of mention those sorts of things, they'll say that's kind of, well, that's useless information because I can look that up online. And it's like, that's not, it's not, I mean, it's just a weird kind of dichotomy. It's like, here you have all this information, but because retaining the information is useless because we can look it up, there's no point to it. It's just a weird, this world. Yeah, what are you doing to me? But yeah, that's we're gonna leave it at that. Let's see here. We are going to also go out with a song called "Light and Shadow," and this song in particular is the one that pushed me to listen to more of this person's stuff. It's some good piano music. So hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening. If you got any comments or jokes you want to tell or anything like that, leave them down below. Or hey, or of course now I'm losing my voice. Or send me a message on Twitter at Jeezums. Goodness, I apologize. Time out. No. There we go. Fight through it. At Muragaru553. Muragaru 553. That's it. Thanks for listening. Sorry about that last little. So, yeah. Alright, take it easy. And, yeah. Take it easy.